Let's do this shit. Hey, I'm Roger, and I suffer from depression. The whole shebang. Pills, doctors, therapy, gaining weight. It's really complicated and annoying, and it sucks. It started around 2 years ago, and it's so deeply affected me as a human being from then and now. I'm almost a different person. Even though it's deeply affected me, I try really hard not to let it define me. It's a part of me, but it's not all of me. I go through life with it. Some days I am really, really, really happy, and I love life, and I look around and I say, wow, I have so many friends and family and just people that support me, and it's amazing. But then a lot of days, I just want to run into a brick wall. And the last month or so has kind of been the latter. I've been sad mostly, but then sometimes I've just been kind of all over the place. I go from legitimate depression and self-loathing and all these horrible things to just pure fits of anger and rage for no reason. That's the part of depression that I hate so much. It just kind of happens. And sure, there are certain triggers here, and there are certain things like maybe a girl doesn't like me, or I look in the mirror and I feel really, really fat. Maybe those things go into me feeling those emotions, but honestly, a normal person that isn't suffering depression or something like it wouldn't have these emotional reactions to these little triggers that I have. It's not a fun feeling to be really helpless inside of your own body. Overanalyzing my life and constantly feeling really, really crappy is just part of it. I feel like this is the part where I usually try to at least figure out my emotions and then eventually come to the point where I can get better. It happens probably every other month, and I slowly but surely realize my emotions are kind of leading me down a path of sadness and anger, and I eventually find something to make me feel good. And I need something to really shine a light inside of the dark box that I'm in, and you need something or someone to get you out of it. For me, sometimes it's eating. Sometimes I overeat and I try to feel good that way. And clearly it's led to me being super fat, and I don't like it, but it works. So sometimes I do it. A lot of the times it's music. I have a deep passion for hip-hop and R&B. To Pimp a Butterfly is the album that really got me out of my depression about a year ago, and it was something that I owe so much gratitude to the artist behind that album, and it's the reason why I'm kind of here and doing these videos more often. Sometimes it's television. Television is a huge passion of mine. I really do love episodic content in general. Fargo shows that really get me going. But right now, surprisingly, it's actually been video games. And you're like, why is that surprising? You make videos about video games. And that's kind of the problem. I want to be in the video game industry. I love and adore video game culture, but I don't play video games too much. Of course, for review and everything, I play games for that. But for fun, maybe a few rounds of League of Legends here and there. Maybe a few rounds of Garry's Mod TTT. For the last few months, I've wanted to play video games, but every time I do, I just kind of feel empty and I'm just not into it, and I just have to move on and watch something else. At first, I thought I was just losing interest in video games as a whole, but now recently I've kind of realized that it was just I was playing the wrong games. Games would come and go, games that I actually cared about, that I wanted to play, games that I'm super anticipated for. Maybe that's because I have no money, maybe that's just because I don't want to play video games. I don't know. Most recently, Doom came out, and I wanted to play that so bad when the E3 announcement came out, and now I couldn't care less. But one game in particular stood out while going through my bi-monthly depression, and that was Uncharted 4. Okay, I've never played an Uncharted game before. It's kind of a sore subject in my gaming repertoire. I love games, that's not a lie, but I grew up with only a few consoles, PS2 and Xbox 360 later on, so I'm not really exposed to the Nintendo and the PlayStation ecosystem. Eventually, as a kid, I started listening to Beyond, the amazing podcast by IGN.
Hey, you're on Podcast Beyond. What's your name?
My name's Kelly.
Hey, Kelly. You sound sweet.
I hope so.
Really getting into the PlayStation ecosystem, even though I never had a PlayStation, and I really wanted one, but I couldn't afford it. So what's the best thing that a broke kid is ever gonna do? Go on YouTube and watch a Let's Play series of it. But I didn't even want to do that. I didn't want to watch PewDiePie play the game, so I watched a movie version of the Uncharted games. Oh god. It sounds so gross saying it out loud, and it felt equally gross saying that out loud on a podcast with my friend who constantly barraged me about it. I was desperate. I wanted to play a game, but I didn't have it, but I wanted to understand it at least. After realizing that my idea of buying Uncharted 4 the day it came out, because I watched these films, I was able to understand the characters on a deeper level, that idea was just kind of foiled, so I spent some money and I bought the trilogy on PlayStation 4. And after playing through 1 and 2 and a lot of 3, I've kind of realized why I love video games. I know, that's like the most cliche thing you can ever say on the internet, but it's super true. I felt like that energy of playing a video game, that love of the craft for the first time in like 6 months. And now that I'm thinking about it, the one thing this week that is different is that I played Uncharted. And this week has probably been one of the best weeks of my life. I've been happy, I've been outgoing, I've been very, very good. Uncharted probably was the thing that got me out of my depression this month. I honestly don't understand how a person can ever play the Uncharted series fully and ever think that this game is not anything but pure bliss and excitement. It's pulpy, the humor's on point, the characters are super funny and interesting, the set pieces are large, the gameplay is amazing, there's so much to love about Uncharted, and the shooting is so fun. That is something that is so interesting to me because I didn't expect that to happen in a game like this. I thought that I was going to be invested in the characters and the landscapes and the graphics, but no, the shooting was the thing that got me super interested in the game. It was the hook for me. I hadn't felt so rewarded playing a cover-based third-person shooter since I played Gears of War back in, 2006, 2007? Jumping into cover, shooting at people blindly so they can run away, jumping away from grenades, throwing grenades, and it's so varied to the point where, sure, you are doing all this stuff every single time you fight, but the landscape is so varied, the amount of weapons are so different, the amount of enemies are so different, and the amount of situations that you can put yourself inside of these small little locales is so varied. I love it, and I was just so enthralled with just the actual shooting mechanics. I think that has a lot to do with the amazing level design. Whether you're going behind someone, punching at a marine, shooting a rocket launcher at a machine gunner, like there's so much there, and I've never played a game like that has just actually so much combat variety in a game that's supposed to be so linear and easy to pick up. It isn't overly complicated, yet it has all these elements of an action-adventure game that make it so great. And to be honest, from the outside looking in, Nathan Drake never looked like anything special. He just looked like a generic white dude with a machine gun on his back. But after playing the game, when that initial hook of the gameplay kind of drew me in, I just kind of fell right back in love with Nathan Drake. Just everything about the story. Sure, I watched the game inside of a movie format, but I was actually able to understand these characters from a first-hand perspective of actually playing the game. I care about Nate and his adventure as much as I care about his dynamic with the amazing Sully. And for the first time ever, I actually care about a romance inside of an action-adventure game. Their chemistry is amazing.
Be careful.
Come on. I always am. Ah! I did not see that!
And I care about Nathan Drake's past. I care about what he does. There's motive behind everything they do, and it's so interesting to kind of peel it back. And the first game starts off as a very pulpy action thing. It's like, oh, it's a fun game. It's a good game. There's not much to it. It's not really deep, but it's just fun. And then 2 kind of just peels back the layers even more. And then 3 just pulls back the onion and cuts it in half. There's so much there, and it just slowly but surely starts to unravel. All the little hints that they have just come to a really good head. And some of his foes, even though they're super bad, like comically bad in these games, they really do pose these really cool philosophical questions towards Drake, what he's doing, how he's doing it. Is he good? Is he bad? Is he morally hypocritical? Who is Nathan Drake? And it's not really solved until sort of Uncharted 3, which I think is super interesting. Oh yeah, why was I sad before? Yeah, my week has kind of been filled with jumping into chaos, throwing grenades, shooting bad people, finding lost and hidden treasures in hidden islands and structures, and it's just been amazing and beautiful. Uncharted is the best distraction for myself that I can ever wish for. Uncharted 1 through 3 are kind of like the exact opposite of depression. Sure, they offer some really cool philosophical ideas, but they're always fun, they're engaging, they're emotional. It's just a pure good video game from the ground up, everything from the technical level to the story level. But in my opinion, it's not just a pure distraction from my depression or a vice. It's a lot more than that. It made me feel good from the inside out. It showed me what good storytelling can be like, good combat can be like. It showed me as a player what it takes to make a good action-adventure game that isn't just a throwaway, but it can be a multi-million-dollar franchise. Honestly, I don't have anything revolutionary to say about this game. I can't say that this game is the greatest thing ever. I can't say that this game changed me on an emotional level in my DNA, but it's really damn good. Show me that life can be fun and everything's not the worst in the world. Hell, you can be Nathan Drake falling off of a train. things can be worse. And even if it's a pure distraction, it's a fun one. I'm excited to play Uncharted 4. Hopefully, it's really good. I'm excited to play it around next week. And for the first time, I can honestly say that I am happy that I was late to the party in a video game. Sure, I was late to the party, but I came right when I needed to be there. What do you guys think about Uncharted? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Please don't tell me you hate it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Tweet at me at Rogformer on the internet. Love you all. Bye-bye. Ooh. But honestly, a person... What? Why is this person honking like a